Hey there folks, my name's Torinski and welcome back to another DCSS Sunday. Today we're of course jumping right back into the usual routine, trying to get a win with every deity in the game. And where we last left off, we'd had a pretty promising Djinni run under Ignis. After a couple of failed starts, the Cinder Acolyte decided to switch it up to Conjurer, but wouldn't you know, we ended up following Ignis with Fated Altar regardless. And yeah, things were going pretty smoothly for us, especially since we found ourselves equipped with Magic Bow, the spell vamp staff. So hopefully we can continue that generally successful trajectory today, but of course who knows what the dungeon has in store. So without further ado, let's just get ready to hop right back in with good old James. Perfect. Of course, the one flip side to the spell vamp staff that has been pretty incredible so far, don't get me wrong, but of course it doubles the cost of all of our spells, so hopefully I don't get myself killed off in some kind of silly fashion when I forget that is how this item works. But okie dokie. It has been a while, a couple weeks since we were here. So I do believe we'd gone both of our runes here, both in Spider and in Shoals, and things were looking pretty solid, so I guess nothing to do but head right back out to the regular dungeon, finish off whatever remains there, and then we can brave vaults and see how that goes. Perfect. So let's just head right up that way to start things off right away here today. Does look like we finished 14. Okie dokie. I do have to kind of remember my spells here. We of course have Noxious Bog that helped us abundantly throughout Spider. Otherwise though, we're still very much relying on our starting spellbook here. Partially why the Conjurer start went way better than the Cinder Acolyte. Just having access to IMB and Fulminant Prism has been pretty wonderful. You know, I was kind of jogging my memory, looking through our spells right before I came on today, and we're kind of finding ourselves in a similar boat to the Great Player series Djinni run that we had, because currently our best damage spell is still from our starting handbook, which isn't great. Again, Noxious Bog kind of does some damage, but otherwise it's pure utility as far as the eye can see. Let's actually potentially check out if I summon in a friend. Okay, Lindworm isn't too bad here. Hello, my four-headed Hydra friend. I'm probably gonna end up murdering my own Lindworm, but such is life sometimes. Let's see how it does against the Hydra. At least held it out long enough, or held it off, I should say, long enough to get the job done, so that is fantastic. And then we'll probably just finish off you real quick. Fantastic. And keep rinse and repeat here. We're making enough noise with our Fulminant Prisms that we should get a decent number of enemies coming this way. Momentum Strike doesn't reach that far. I guess we'll just put down one of these for now instead then, and that's fine. You're gonna walk towards me. Thank you, my Cyclops friend. I appreciate it. And perfect. Not too shabby. In fact, let's just head upstairs. We'll get a quick heal off after using a decent amount of our health points here just to batter the first few enemies. Oh, hello, Nessos. I probably shouldn't have blasted you away from me, but such is life, I guess, so we'll just finish off our centaur friend there. And not too shabby. Let's get that mouse out there as well, shall we? Well, okie dokie. Definitely not the end of the world so far. We will run back to the stairs as soon as we start to get a little more surrounded here. Otherwise, we can kind of just bounce enemies around. We're not quite healing up from our Magic Bow expenses there, and you can see we pretty much brought ourselves to near death. So maybe that's a good illustration that we can't get too complacent, even with something like the Magic Bow here. And perfect. Whatever you were. I guess probably that wizard that we saw earlier taken care of, so that's fantastic. And 5 potions of degeneration. Ooh. What a pleasure. What a treat. I should also recall that we have that Rampage, immediately forgetting about that functionality. Ooh, and without any resistance to negativity, plus a bit of pain at the end there, definitely might find ourselves in a bit of a nasty spot. What we could actually do here, we have 2 pips of cold resistance, 3 total thanks to our ring and our ice dragon scales. So potentially, let's swap out the protection from cold ring, and let's put some positive energy into the mix here, shall we? Fantastic. Don't really want to be relying on IMB for all of our combat needs here, but it's definitely at least a little more straightforward than Fulminant Prism can often be, so laziness prevails sometimes here, and we'll just take what we can get. Fantastic. Roxanne, if we were any other type of spellcaster and we'd gone this far without any statue form, I probably would end up fighting Roxanne, but unfortunately, just not gonna cut it this time, my statuesque friend. I guess statuesque is probably a little bit of a misnomer at the end of the day. You know, that brings into question, is it inaccurate? Because they're not statuesque, they are just literally a statue, but is there anything more statue-like than a literal statue? Oh, words. How fun you can be sometimes. But okie dokie, that we do manage to clear out the regular dungeon here. I don't think we'll be taking on all of our slime friends. I guess there is... Oh, it's the Amulet of Air. Whoa, what am I currently wearing for an amulet? I don't have an amulet. Huh. Well, how about that? Would really like the Amulet of Air. The inaccuracy won't really affect us because we don't currently have anything that requires accuracy in order to hit. And more importantly, resistance to electricity is something that we are currently short on here. So let's take another peek at this, actually. There is a ghost in there as well. Curalita, eh? Interesting. Octopo Transmuter only has Confuse as a spell, though. So we should most likely be okay against them. Again, high evasion, but that's not a huge deal, as we kind of just mentioned. I guess the one thing we do want to be careful of, Fusion Gaze 5%. Maybe we'll be okay. Well, for better or for worse, here goes nothing. Start off by just juggling our slimy friends here as best we can. Fortunately, in the large groups, we're dealing enough damage in order to make up for our own expenditures, so that's beautiful. And then otherwise, just want to keep our Fulminant Prism up and at him, and not too shabby there. In fact, better than expected, all things considered. So let us make some room here. Potions of Flight, completely useless to us, as well as the Degeneration that we recently ID'd, so we can make some room for both these Sons of Guns. +2 Ring Mail of the Okapi. I do like me some Okapi action, but we'll just leave that for now. And finally, we get our first Amulet of the run. How about that? Attacks and spells. Yeah, I don't think we currently have anything accuracy based. It's all AoE. Besides Magic Dart, which hopefully we're not going to be using too much in this day and age. So I guess we will put you on for now. We'll have to rethink that if we end up with something like Lahudib's Crystal Sphere as one of our final spells, but I'm hoping maybe instead we'll get like Ignition would be nice. For level 9 spells, Firestorm probably wouldn't be too bad. In fact, most of them Shatter could be really nice for that, but who knows what the rest of the dungeon has in store. But now that we have Resist Electricity, I'm actually going to take a little bit of a detour before we head into vaults, and I think we're going to explore Elf here. Always a little bit scary against the Zephyrmancers when you do not have resistance to their attacks, but fortunately, we've gotten that figured out. Unfortunately, we immediately fail our summoning, so that is less than ideal, shall we say. But there we go. We've started to break our way into the mold here. In fact, what I probably should have done here, in fact, I still could do it. Let's take one turn sitting on the stairs, and then let's bring Azul up with us. Fantastic. Oh, I didn't even notice that there was an arcane portal down here. Very distant magical portal. I mean, I probably should at least check it out, see what awaits us. It's definitely slightly terrifying. How much magic mapping do I have? 10 scrolls, so just an absurd amount. So why not read that? And we can at least start heading that direction and decide if it's something that is feasible for us in the here and now. We shall see how it goes. Fantastic. Ooh, that's a dead end. What you doing, Torinski? Doesn't help much to read magic mapping if you don't pay any attention as to what's revealed, so great job me, as always. Fantastic work. Ooh, as we hit, I think it was 18 in spellcasting that we had pending from last time around, and so the question becomes, where do we wish to train? We at least have a rechargeable evocable now, so we could argue some more training into evocations. Otherwise, what else? I guess armor might be nice to train a little bit further here, since we are in not the lightest of armor, not heaviest either, of course, but it's still impacting our spellcasting rate slightly, so that seems like a pretty solid plan. And, you know, let's put Evo on in the background as well, just to have some kind of alternative as we continue forward. And none of those rings are of any interest, and most spellbooks completely useless. I was hoping for a manual of some sort there, some kind of training, but hey, not the end of the world. We'll just jump right back into the thick of things here, and not too shabby. In fact, let us step into our own blast. Great work, me, as always. Oh, geez Louise. Well, maybe not the smartest moves that we've ever made here, but we do eventually take care of that first batch, and then we can jump right back in here. In fact, let's take a step. I'm trying to think of where I can go so that our dancing weapon friend there was getting bounced around a little bit. And we can put down a couple of fulminant prisms here, and that should take care of our demonologist pal as well. Not too shabby whatsoever. And beautiful. This should be... Ooh. No, I did not even notice down here is where it should be our arcane portal entrance. Whoopsie daisies. Well, we'll probably do a bit of a U-turn here and head right back that direction. Still potentially a chance we make it. Haven't been spending too long on the floor so far here. Jeez Louise. Don't know why I'm so terrible at finding the wizard portals when they're some of the fancier looking portal rooms, but I guess that is all besides the point, and let us head right this direction. See invisible could be nice. I guess leech blade we don't need. Zom's chessboard piece probably won't use anyway. Most of this other stuff I want to carry in just in case. I can always burn like the berserk potions. I'll probably be dropping on the floor and never touching anyway. So hey, if I have to burn those in there or drop them in there, then that's not too bad in my mind. So let's check it out. Lahudib's Moon Base. Oh, okay, so this is, if memory recalls, where we fight the Moon Troll, and you get some pretty fantastic troll leather armor. Even though potentially it involves regeneration of mana, which evidently will do absolutely nothing for us here. Potentially what I will do is... Ooh, I forgot to have internet browser ready to go here, but let's just pop that up on the second monitor, just because, as always, DCSS Wiz Lab Lifted. whenever you find yourselves in these portals, it can be very, very nice to just do a quick scan of the wiki entry, wherever you get your information, just to see if there's anything unexpected that we're going to have to deal with here. Looks like lots of abyss flavored enemies, Eyes of Devastation, Orbs of Eyes, all the like. A few different mutators, Quicksilver Dragon, and the Moon Troll. It's a fast version of an Iron Troll with more hit dice that casts Corrosive Bolt. Interesting. And Moon Troll leather armor gives Spirit Shield, and ooh, Regen++. The Regen++ is actually pretty fantastic. Spirit Shield doesn't really do much for us. Oh, geez Louise. I want to go for it, but I'm terrified. I guess what we can do is kind of hide out in our nice little corner here. One of these days we'll get a little more successful in our summoning. So far, every time we've cast it with enemies in the general purview, it has not gone ideally for us. Here we go. Lindworm, go get him, Tiger. Okay. Put some respect on the Lindworm's name. Not too bad, friend. In fact, much better than I originally expected here. I guess that Flame Breath does a decent amount of damage for us here. Oh, and we get our first Sphinx. Sphinx in the spell description was labeled as one of the stronger options, so that is fantastic. And if we could just keep you coming in with us. Fortunately, Sphinxes do have Confused, Paralyzed, Slow, all pretty stellar status effects, and Smiting to boot. So not too shabby whatsoever. You'll notice that I'm kind of avoiding using our own spells. Most of our magic causes a bunch of noise. So if I can kind of just take care of most of our new friends without having to resort to that, it seems like it will keep us in a nice advantageous position here where we don't have too many enemies coming down on us from all sides. Ooh, I might need to help out a little bit with our star-cursed friends. Okie dokie, and then we'll just back right the heck out. Again, play this a little bit on the safe side. I don't even know if there's really much for us here, but because we've decided to try our hand at it and see how it goes, can definitely check it out and see if we're able to make it through without too much of an issue. Cacodemons were described as some of the inner guardians, I think was the wording used, so that is probably the end game zone right down that way. And let's just pop into the midst of our new friends here. Fortunately, again, as long as there are multiple enemies around, we kind of make up for our spell costs and then some. So that is fantastic. In fact, let's let ourselves get slightly more surrounded, even though that's generally not the most advisable position to put yourself in here. And not too shabby. Holy moly. Slowly but surely making our way through. Manticore, I don't know if you're gonna quite cut it. I guess we could double up on our summons at the very least. And then once they're no longer in range of our spells, finally gives us an excuse to stretch our legs and get blasting, so that is beautiful. Okay, I was wondering if a tentacled starspawn could open doors here. Turns out the answer may surprise you. But fantastic. Let's just close that right on up again here. I guess Inner Sanctum, it seems like it would be in the middle, right? Maybe that's just what they want us to think. So it looks like the multi-sphinx approach was not something that we can really rely on quite yet. But we will get a few friends and see how it goes. Stark cursed masses are definitely less than ideal. Come on, go, gadget. Summons, you can do it, buddies. I believe in you. Maybe? Man of Viper definitely at least helping out a decent amount, and there we go. We do manage to take them all out here. Holy moly. So I should probably bring back up the OBS here, especially since, hello, Seth. Sorry for missing you there. Spellvamp, never seen that. That seems insane for Djinni. Does it work on summons? Doesn't seem to work on summons, and it's definitely insane on Djinni. Yeah, and as long as we're surrounded by enemies, IMB pays for itself every single time. The downside, of course, being if I'm not careful, the double cost on our spells will come back to bite me in a big way, but hopefully we manage to avoid that for the most part. Don't like how much we're kind of forced to rely on summons here so far, but once we've cleared out most of the area, we can probably get a little more aggressive with some of our other abilities here. In fact, let's start that right away. Ooh, that Sphinx went down real fast. Interesting. The Fulminant Prism's definitely not quite doing as much of a kick as I would like, and there we go. We're down to 36%. Oof. Or not even percent. 36 health. Less than 36%, really. We have 3 blinking, and this might be a time that we should just play it safe and bring that out. It's a good indicator because we will be running into more and more of these Crystal Guardians once we do start braving our way through vaults. So this is a nice little, I don't know, proof of concept, I guess, in order to see how we'll fare when we get there. And not looking too hot here so far, but we'll just hop right on up. And then I'm curious, they will indeed make their way up here. Just to play it safe, we will drink a health potion then. And if one of my Fulminant Prisms could just survive long enough to blast here, it should give us a decent amount of health back. Fantastic. And that should just about do the trick. Beautiful. Oh, what do I do with you, my guardian friend? Can I at least start to lay a little bit of a landmine trail here and see how that goes. Unfortunately, not great placement options. Let's bring in a summon once again here. And 37 health is not where you want to be. Crystal Bolt, a penetrating projectile. That's not what I was hoping for. Guess I'll heal again, even though that is less than ideal to say the least, and hopefully that blast finishes you off. Holy moly. So definitely a little bit trickier than I was expecting. To an unfortunate degree, really. We do see an artifact ring, so that is a pretty huge get for us, if we can manage to do so. And there's our eyeball friend. Hello, hello. Just blast you real quick. Not too shabby. Oh me, oh my. As long as we take this nice and slow, should be in an okay spot, all things considered. We'll just use IMB to finish off the last brain friend that we find here. More butterflies, not too shabby. As long as future enemies aren't feeling quite so penetrative as our crystal golem buddy, then we should be looking a-okay. With a lot of different bodies we can kind of throw in the way of our problems to try and ensure that they don't make it all the way back up to yours truly. And okie dokie. Ah, there's our moon troll friend. Hello there. 99 health, corrosive bolt, And it's fast. High armor class as well. Holy moly. Well, might find ourselves in a bit of an interesting predicament when we get to that stage. Oh, and more crystal guardians for our pleasure here. Fantastic. Just what we wanted to see, of course. Let us continue to kind of just lace the area as best we can with different explosions. I want to be careful. I almost stepped right into the blast zone there, which would not have been ideal by any means. May bring out a summon. Really blast near my manticore. Unfortunately, needs must. We must have killed the crystal golem. Holy moly. Well, let's throw some bodies at this problem here. Good turn economy for us when we have a couple of summons by our sides. Let's take a short break here to make sure we're staying a bit more hydrated.